The most expensive cocktail in the world costs $500 a glass. You're not paying for the alcohol, you're paying for the silence. You don't believe me? I do, because I'm the bartender who makes it. My name is Jack Morrison. I'm 32, based in New York City. I work at Amber, a private members bar in Chelsea. There's no sign, no street number, just a tiny brass bell by the door. Membership runs $50,000 a year. That fee alone weeds out 90% of people. Doctor, a classic black martini goes for $20 outside. Here it's 80. But let me tell you, the real luxury item is the one with nothing in it. A glass of soda water with 3 ice cubes. That'll be $300. You ask why? Because once you take that seat, no one dares bother you. I've been here 7 years, worked my way up from dishwashing apprentice to head bartender. But honestly, my bartending skills aren't my greatest asset. My real superpower is reading people. Let me tell you a story. Last fall, a woman walked in, early 40s, in a perfectly tailored dark gray suit, every hair in place. She didn't order a drink. She just sat in the far left corner of the bar and stayed there for 40 minutes, sipping nothing. I stood behind the bar watching her. Her eyes were fixed on the counter, but she wasn't seeing a thing. Her eyelids kept twitching, and her right index finger traced circles on the wood for nearly half an hour. I poured her a warm mint tea with half a spoon of honey, set it down in front of her. I didn't say a word, didn't even look at her, just slid it gently across the bar and walked away. About 5 minutes later, she picked up the cup and took a sip, then she cried, not sobbing, just a quiet shake of the shoulders, tears dropping into her tea. She dabbed at them with a napkin, never lifting her head. 10 minutes after that, she stood up, signed the bill, left a $100 tip, nodded at me, and left. After that, she came every week, same corner, same time, never ordered anything stronger than warm mint tea. It wasn't until the 3rd month that she finally spoke to me.
I don't come here for the tea,
she said.
I come here to find someone who won't look at me.
I smiled. I'm not looking at you, I'm just watching the ice melt. She became one of my most loyal regulars. You think she paid $300 for a cup of tea? No. She paid for the safety of being invisible for 40 minutes, of everyone at the bar acting like she wasn't there. Her name is Emily. She's a partner at a hedge fund in Manhattan, running a team of over 400 people. You know what her daily life looks like? Up at 5:30 a.m., tracking Asian markets by 6:01, breakfast meetings at 7:01, 100 emails to answer before 9:01, and calls with London at 10 p.m. She even checks her phone in the bathroom. She once said something that stuck with me ever since.
Every floor in my office is polished with my anxiety.
She didn't need my drinks, she needed me to shut up. 7 years ago, when I first started out, I was nothing like this. I was an apprentice at a chain bar back then, obsessed with making my pores look flashy, tossing bottles in the air, catching them, flaming orange peels over the glass. I spent 3 months practicing those bottle flip tricks until my boss told me straight, that stuff works on tourists, not on our guests. One night, an older gentleman sat at the bar and ordered an old-fashioned. I was so flustered making it that I nearly sent the ice flying out of the glass. He watched, smiled, and said nothing. The next day, he left me a note with 2 lines. Your wrists are nimble, but your eyes are too busy. Are you mixing the drink, or are you mixing yourself up? I kept that note in my wallet for 6 years. Then I met Linda. She'd been head bartender at Amber for 20 years, and I trained under her for a full year. The first thing she taught me wasn't how to mix a drink. It was how to stand still.
When a guest's glass is empty, don't rush to refill it,
she said.
Glance at them. If they swirl the glass, pour. If they press the rim down on the bar, leave it. The faster you reach, the tenser they get.
Linda also taught me one rule. Never ask a guest how are you doing from behind the bar.
Why would you ask that?
She'd say,
if they want to talk, they'll start. Open your mouth and you shatter their bubble. You ever see a zookeeper tap on the glass and ask a tiger if it's hungry?
I laughed at her back then, but she was right. The more money people have, the more terrified they are of anyone noticing they're hiding. They pay good money to come here, to disappear somewhere no one knows their name, greet them, yank them back to reality, and they'll never come back. Last year, I almost lost a top client because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. His name was Kane, in his 40s, out in Silicon Valley. He built AI chips, his company valued at over $2 billion. Every time he came in, he sat dead center at the bar, said nothing, drank dark rum neat, no ice. That night my hand slipped while I was mixing and I flicked ice shavings out of the glass. He glanced at me and I stupidly said,
Sorry, my hands are a little cold today.
He set his glass down right then, his whole demeanor shifting.
Jack,
He said,
I don't come here to care if your hands are cold. If they're cold, wear gloves. But you need to make me feel like you've got it together. I pay my annual fee. I don't pay for your excuses.
It hit me like a slap in the face. He was right. Your problems are your own. They're not part of the service. Making a client feel your instability is worse than messing up a drink. After that, I mastered one trick, no matter if I'd fought with my girlfriend the night before, or my wrist ached so bad I could barely hold a shaker. The second I stepped behind the bar, my face stayed exactly the same. Not too much, not too little. Just right. Like a perfect dry martini, not too cold, not too warm. But you know what? The hardest part of this job isn't the skill or the poker face, it's holding your ground. I've seen way too many bartenders crash and burn over that. Drambury used to have a bartender named Michael, looked like the second lead in a TV drama, smooth talker, great at chatting up female clients especially. He targeted the single ones, the divorced ones, the ones who looked lonely. He'd brush the back of his hand against their fingers while pouring, smile, and murmur.
This drink's just like you, strong, but it lingers.
Some of the women ate it up. They'd invite him to dinner, parties, buy him bags. His tips were double what the rest of us made combined. But what happened? One client, the wife of a major entertainment CEO, had been seeing him for 3 months when she stormed up to the bar one day, slapped him across the face in front of everyone, and accused him of slipping something in her drink. Security footage proved he hadn't drugged her, but in the middle of the fight, she yelled,
You're just a fancy, overpriced, boring man. Get out of my sight.
That same night, the boss fired Michael. His ID was revoked, and he was banned from Amber for life. The most clear-headed rejection I ever gave was one I had to make myself. Spring before last, a client named Victoria started coming in. She was in her early 50s, a luxury brand broker, twice divorced, wearing a Patek Philippe that could have bought out my entire bar. After a dozen or so visits, she started showing up right before closing every night, ordering a White Russian made by me, and sitting at the far end of the bar until I locked up. One night, she said it straight.
Jack, I'm going to St. Bart's for 2 weeks next month. I need a steward who knows his wine. If you're in, I'll pay you $200,000, all expenses covered. And besides mixing drinks, you could learn a few other things from me at night.
$200,000. My annual salary at Amber back then was $120,000. One offer, and it was almost 2 years' pay. But I turned her down.
Victoria,
I said,
if you're looking for a drinking companion, I can recommend a bar in Miami. I know several bartenders there, better than me, better looking too.
her face darkened.
Are you really that slow, or are you playing dumb?
I understand perfectly,
I said,
but I'm not the right product for what you want. For $200,000, you can get plenty of people to take their clothes off for you, but you can't buy someone who'll help you up to your room when you're drunk and never mention a single stupid thing you said the next morning. That's who I am, the guy who never mentions it. If I went with you, I'd stop being worth that price.
She stared at me for almost a minute, then laughed once and slid her half-finished drink across the bar.
This one's on me. What you just said, it's worth every penny.
She never brought it up again. Instead, she became one of my steadiest clients in at least 4 times a month, always leaving a generous tip. She once told me,
You're not like other bartenders. You're more like my lawyer, just cheaper.
but I've had my share of trouble too. Last December, a client named Philip, a real estate developer in his 50s, showed up out of the blue. His wife, Diana, was a regular at Amber. She came in often, sometimes with different girlfriends, sometimes alone with a gin and tonic. Philip wasn't there to drink, he was there to confront someone. He marched straight to the bar, pulled me aside, and hissed,
Jack, I've had about enough of you. You and my wife talk forever every time she's here. She comes home all distracted. What's going on between you two?
I almost laughed right then. Diana never said more than 5 words to me per visit. She'd order a gin and tonic, sit there scrolling her phone, glance up at the basketball game on TV now and then, and maybe mutter the usual when she walked past. But Philip didn't see it that way. All he saw was his wife spending $500 a month drinking here, while back in their mansion, all he had was an empty glass. I said,
Mr. Philip, your wife comes in, orders a gin and tonic with 3 ice cubes, sits in the corner for 40 minutes and leaves. The most we ever talk about is whether the beer tap's broken or if that stain on my sleeve is lemon juice. If you're really that worried, come sit here yourself. You'll see how boring it actually is.
his face turned stone cold.
Don't give me that. I hear you make these special drinks for female clients, stuff that makes them talk too much. Is that what you're doing?
I set down my shaker, turned to face him, and looked him dead in the eye.
Mr. Philip, did you have 3 martinis before you came here? Your face is flushed, you're sweating through your forehead, and your hands shaking around that glass. You're not here to catch your wife cheating. You're here to find an excuse for yourself. You just came from the doctors, didn't you? Told you your blood pressure's high, your liver enzymes are off the charts, you need to quit drinking, and you walked straight here instead of going home. Am I right?
He froze, mouth opening and closing a couple times, nothing coming out.
You don't have to explain it to me. You know the truth. You should be less worried about who your wife's drinking with, and more worried about whether your body's gonna make it to next quarter. The money you make it's for your wife to spend, not your doctor's.
His face went from red to white. He drained what was left in his glass in one gulp, turned and walked out. He never came back to Amber after that, but his wife Diana did. She came to thank me, said Philip quit drinking, started working out, lost 10 pounds in a month. See that? A guy who came ready to fight left as one of my most successful intervention stories, but I don't win every time. Last year, I messed up my right wrist. For a bartender, your wrists are everything. I was working 60 hours a week for 6 months straight, shaking a shaker an average of 200 times every night. One night, after mixing 24 martinis back to back, a sharp, searing pain shot through my right wrist like someone driving a knife straight into my ulna. I powered through it, didn't let anyone see. But by the next morning, I couldn't even twist open a bottle of water. The doctor said it was a TFCC tear, recommended surgery, and at least 6 weeks off. 6 weeks. That meant 6 weeks with zero income. My rent was $4,200 a month. How was I supposed to cover 6 weeks of that? And Amber isn't some regular bar. Take time off, and someone steps right into your spot. Those clients come for you, not for your drinks. If you're gone, they leave too. I didn't get the surgery. I didn't take sick leave. Every day before work, I wrapped my wrist in 3 layers of medical tape, soaked it in the ice bucket for 10 minutes, and stepped behind the bar. When mixing drinks, I shook the shaker with my left hand, only using my right for the simplest pours. You have no idea how awkward it was. Shaking with my left hand, no steady force, the ice clinked differently, wrong even. Doctor, one of my regulars, Ben, a brutally honest sommelier, took a sip of the Negroni I made him, glanced at me, and said,
Your rhythm's off today. You hurt your hand.
I smiled.
Nah, just trying a new shake, balancing out both sides.
He looked at me for 5 seconds, nodded, and never asked again. But I knew he was protecting my pride. In this job, your problems don't belong at work. Working through an injury is like tripping on stage and keeping the show going. But to the audience, you still tripped. I made it through those 6 weeks, got my year-end bonus, and had enough to cover the surgery. But after the operation, my right hand never got back its old precision. I did 3 months of rehab before I could shake a perfect dry martini again, just the right ratio of ice to water. But that injury made me start asking myself, what am I even doing? I mix drinks every day to help other people relax, but my wrist is broken, and so is my sleep. I was 31, coming home to my apartment every night, lying awake for 2 hours before I could fall asleep. My mind would replay every client's expression, every drink where I'd skimped a drop of bitters. I don't drink, don't smoke, don't eat spicy food, don't eat garlic, all to protect my sense of taste. My fridge is always stocked with nothing but lemons, olives, and sparkling water. Nothing in there feels like a treat. I make good money. Last year, my salary plus tips at Amber was around $180,000. Add in consulting work for a few high-end hotels, and my annual income hits $250,000. But I have no friends. I've got over 300 clients in my contacts, but not a single person I can call and say, I'm having a terrible day. Last month, a longtime regular named Harvey passed through. He was 68, had been coming to Amber every month for 20 years for the same whiskey sour. He'd just been diagnosed with Parkinson's. His hands shook so bad he could barely hold a glass. On his last visit, he sat at the bar, and I made him a non-alcoholic wild berry soda. He took one sip, and his eyes welled up.
Jack, I probably won't be coming back.
He said,
But thank you. 20 years, and you never once asked me how I was doing.
He left after that. I stood behind the bar, watching him shuffle slowly out the door. For a second, I wanted to cry so bad, but I didn't. I turned around and kept polishing glasses. Because the ultimate skill I learned in this job isn't how to mix a drink, it's how to lock your feelings in the freezer. But slowly I realized something. The more you teach other people to relax, the tighter you wind yourself up. You build that quiet space for them, but your own space is full of noise. Every day, I stand behind the bar, listening to ice clink, to other people breathing, but I never hear my own heartbeat. So this year I made a decision. I quit my full-time head bartender position at Amber. I started writing a book about bartending, not about recipes, but about how to read what someone's going through from the drink they order. I also trained staff at a few small bars, not how to pour or shake, how to shut up. And I made one rule for myself. Every Tuesday night, I sit on the other side of the bar. I have another bartender make me the cheapest gin and tonic on the menu, and I sit there in silence, just like any regular guest. I pretend I'm not a bartender. I pretend I'm just someone who needs a drink. You know what? The week before last, I sat down there, and I felt relaxed before the drink even arrived. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one providing the service. I was the one being served. Look, I've been bartending 7 years, made good money, held my ground, turned down a $200,000 offer, and pushed through a torn wrist. But the biggest lesson I learned wasn't how to make a better drink. It was how to be the person who needs a quiet moment too. Doctor, at the end of the day, the most expensive drink in the world isn't whiskey or cognac. It's the one where you finally let go of that tight string inside you, and no one can make that drink for you. You have to sit down across from yourself, pour it out, and say,
You did good today. Don't think about anything. Just drink.
that's what I'm doing now. What about you? How long has it been since you poured yourself that drink? You don't have to tell me, just think about it. I know I have, for 7 years.